Thank you very much for the invitation to this inspiring workshop. And I want to present you today a work on productive structures and income inequality. I'm working with colleagues at the MIT Media Lab. And some years ago, Cesar Hidalgo and Ricardo Hausmann introduced fascinating, brilliant new tools how to get a fingerprint of the productive structures of countries. And this allows us going much deeper in the economic opportunities for inclusive growth. And I use now these tools to analyze the relationship between productive structures and income inequality. And as you see here in this example, Chile is an economy that is very dependent on copper, and its Gini index is very high. Malaysia instead, what has actually the same level of GDP in price purchasing capita, has managed to diversify in a lot of complex products, and its Gini coefficient went down. Now the question is a more complex economy also more inclusive? And the answer is yes. We made a lot of econometric tests to figure out, and it's true that there is a negative and significant relationship between economic complexity and income inequality. There's virtually no country where it has a complex economy who is also very unequal. And all countries who have a very simple economy are very unequal. Now, let us understand why this is the case. A lot of the more advanced industrialized countries produce complex products like cars. And these products need a large network of knowledge-based activities where you have engineers, material science, and a lot of people with skills working. Of course, these people also get higher salaries, and the societies need to be more inclusive to create the social networks able to produce such stuff. In comparison, in many developing countries, we still have a lot of very exploitative products, like the cocoa beans, for example, in West Africa, where BBC some years ago showed that there are still 100,000 childs working as slaves in the cocoa bean farms. We had this also in Latin America, in Potosí, in all the copper, silver mines, and so on. Now, what we introduce is a measure called Product Gini Index, where we compare what is the income inequality of countries who produce different kinds of products. And if you see in this example that the average income inequality of the producers of cocoa beans is much higher than of the producers of cars. We can make this comparison actually for a lot of different products, for hundreds up to thousands of different products, and then understand what is actually the distribution of income inequality across the global product space. And in this network graph, what was initially introduced by Hidalgo and Hausmann also, I color now the nodes. Each of the nodes is one industrial product, and the links is the how often they are co-exported. And I overlay the product Ginis on this product space. And so in color, the nodes in red, these are products that mainly are produced by unequal countries. And the blue ones are produced by more equalitarian countries. And as you see, the products in the periphery, like cocoa beans, crude petroleum, copper, and so on, are mainly in very unequal countries who do this. While societies who produce cars and so are much more equalitarian. This is kind of a very cool thing, because now we can enter into this Latin American perspective on structural transformation with equity and associate how the changes in the productive structures translate in changes in income inequality. And for our example of Malaysia, you see, they had in the 1960s, mainly the production was based on natural rubber, tin and alloys, or sawlogs. But they managed actually with a mix of social and economic policy to diversify into more complex sectors, like for example computer parts or electronic microcircuits. Instead, what we have in Latin America, that a lot of countries have structural constraints simply by the products what they are doing. And there has been a lot of progress in the social programs, but now the next step is also how to create diversification strategy that creates better paid and more knowledge-based employment. Now the implications are very straightforward. The productive structures set the level of income inequality. We can actually use the new tools of big data to analyze what are the opportunities where the country can go. And last but not least, social policies need to be complemented by these productive diversification strategies.